Hey guys, today I want to talk about helmet safety. Helmets can save your life. I know we've all heard this before, and a lot of people are like, poo, whatever, but it really is true. I have a lot of helmets here. All of these are mine except for one. One is Andy's, and I want to show you. And I want to show you why it's important to wear a helmet and how they have saved me. Basically, a lot of people have asked me, geez, Dawn, how many lives do you have? And the answer is I have lots of lives, but it's all because of these helmets. I've had crashes and stuff where the helmet didn't matter. Well, it didn't matter if I had a helmet or not, and whatever. And a lot of people have those types, and then they're like, see, I never needed a helmet. But then I've had plenty here where the helmet absolutely saved my life. Without the helmet, game over. So when you're playing Nintendo game and you get to choose, you get a power up, and your power up is an extra life, and then you're like, I really wanted to shoot fireballs or whatever, but once you needed that extra life, then you're really grateful that it's there. Let's see. Why did you go do something else? All right, so a little background, I guess. I used to race motorcycles. I also rode and commuted from Inland Empire to Orange County every day, rain or sun or cold or hot or whatever. I rode all the time. Then I hit the canyons, a lot of track days, and then a little bit of racing too. So lots of motorcycle time. A lot of these are motorcycle crashes. Really on horseback, I've only had one incident so far that the helmet saved my life, and that's when the horse, and it wasn't even Lacer, surprisingly, but a horse actually stepped on my head. And luckily I had the helmet on, but you figure 1,000-pound horse stepping on your head. I'm not sure if my own head would have been able to take that. Come on, Lacer. Now this one is a Shoei, and you can see the visor actually tore off, and then you can see all the scrapes going this way up my head, and I actually went up and over, and then I slid for a long time on the back of my head and the sides. Yep, that wouldn't have felt good on my head either. So this one all the way around, and these are deep gouging scrapes. When this tore off of my face, I remember I was sliding on my face for a long time, and I saw the rocks and debris passing by at high speeds as I was sliding, and I just kept thinking, oh my gosh, visor, please hold, because if that tears off, all of that rocks and stuff is going to be right in my eyes, and I can close my eyelids, but how long will my eyelids last before those tear through? And that was my exact thought as I was sliding on the ground. Luckily, when it tore off, then I actually turned myself and I slid. But that's really dangerous when you're sliding at high speeds, and you're sliding for a long time. If the manner that you're sliding at is relatively safe, you kind of want to stay there, because you don't want to be sent tumbling, boom, boom, boom. If you're tumbling, that's how you're breaking stuff. You want to just slide. So I waited until the very last minute when the visor finally gave out, to go ahead and flip over, and I try to flip over in a manner that I wouldn't tumble, and then and finish sliding on the back of my head here, and all of that. Very lucky that the helmet was there to take all of that. So here is another one. You can see all these scrapes on the visor, so that saves my face, and then big chunk taken out of here, coming around, and then coming around on this side, both sides of my head. So this side and this side, top of my head, and of course the visor. This one is actually Andy's helmet, and he did that to the back of his helmet. This is a freeway crash, and look at that. So basically, when I look at my helmets, I definitely know that they saved my life multiple times, and that's why it's not really a question of if I wear a helmet. I always wear a helmet. All I have to do is look at these and imagine that on my head. People don't give helmets enough credit. All you have to do is look on YouTube or whatever and look up and research all of the technology that goes into making a helmet, and it is impressive. I mean, they use all the science available to try and figure out how to save lives, and it's really impressive. And once you learn and see all of that goes into it, you might have more respect for the helmet. All right, so here are some facts about helmets. No matter what discipline you're using the helmet for, whether it be equestrian, cycling, motorcycling, whatever, they all have to meet safety standards. And many companies exceed the standards, so definitely check out that, and that's your number one priority. Then, and it's not necessarily what's cheapest or most expensive either. Then the next thing is make sure that it fits. The proper helmet fit has to be on your head and does not shift when you move your head, does not shift when you have an impact. One of the tests that they do is called a retention test. The retention test, there's also a yank test for the straps. That test that the straps are going to hold and keep the helmet on your head when you have a huge impact. And the retention test also that's tied in. And it's basically that the helmet is going to stay on your head. So if you wear a helmet and you don't strap it, you don't buckle it, or you buckle it but it's really loose and dangly, that you're not doing it right. That's like wearing your seatbelt and just draping it over your shoulder and not actually buckling it in. And you have to have this buckled, and you have to have it almost tight. You want it as tight as can be without hurting you, but tight. They say when you open your jaw, then you should actually feel the top of the helmet sinking down into your head when you open your jaw. Okay, that's how snug it should be. It should totally hug around your chin. One of my motorcycle helmets, one of my worst motorcycle crashes is a race crash, 15 broken bones, not including skull fracture, crushed jaw on this side, multiple broken teeth, and the thing that freaked people out, I was bleeding all over my face. But what happened, it was my chin strap had actually sliced into my chin, and that's one of the scars. I have a scar here on my chin from the chin strap slicing into my chin. But you figure that was a huge impact. 15 broken bones, skull fracture, crushed jaw, broken teeth, all within this $1,000 helmet. And that chin strap, if it had not held and just flown off and left my head exposed, I would have died. All of that damage was within this helmet. I mean, just think about that for a second. So yeah, the chin strap cut my chin, and I'm glad, it held, is all I can say. So make sure that your chin strap is on, and that it's on tight, and that the fit is good, it's snug. Because the whole point of wearing a helmet is that it's going to be there when something hits it. If something hits it and it just flies right off, you're totally defeating the purpose. Now, the other thing is helmets only have a shelf life of 5 years. And that's it's kind of general and all that. But the reason behind that, there's a real reason behind it. Now, shelf life means sitting on the shelf, not even being used, as a shelf life of 5 years. And the reason behind that is if you ever take a styrofoam, the inside of the helmet, for most any helmet, the inside is this kind of styrofoamy thing. Okay, now it's like a super duper styrofoam inside, but that's your shock absorber. And styrofoam, if you ever pour gasoline or something in styrofoam, it melts it almost right away. Well, in our air, we have pollutants. We have, and especially with motorcycling, all the exhaust, that there's gas in, there's gas particles and oil and all that stuff, all of those things. And then your head sweats. What is in sweat? Salt and oils and a whole bunch of other things are in sweat, the pollutants in the air and all that. So just being exposed to all that breaks down the styrofoam on its own, and it takes 5 years or so to break it down. Maybe it doesn't take that, maybe it's longer, but they want to play it safe too. The other thing is, if you drop the helmet, that's kind of okay if the shell is intact, although you don't know if there's little micro tears in it and stuff like that, and that could weaken it. But if you just drop it like this, then it's probably okay. But if your head is inside of it and you take an impact, that helmet is no longer good, because it's the fact that your head is inside and it hits something hard, and then you just crushed that styrofoam inside. It's like packing peanuts. Once the packing peanut is smushed flat, it's not going to be able to do its job anymore. So that's why they say that. And a lot of times you can't see it. It's not something that you can see. And definitely, if you can see it, then it's definitely no good. But general rule of thumb is 5 years, because all things break it down, and also if there's impact and you need to change it, you need a new helmet. Different accessories for your helmet is a helmet liner. Most helmets come with some kind of helmet liner, and in addition to a helmet liner, I always wear a bandana, and that is to soak up sweat and all that, and oils and everything. That'll save the life of your helmet, or extend the life of your helmet, and also keep it from being too grungy. You can soak and wash a helmet, and if you've ever done that, you'll know how disgusting it is inside. I mean, just think about how long does it take before your hair and your scalp feels nasty, and you need to take a shower, and you need to wash your hair, right? Well, build that up into 5 years of wearing your helmet, and that's all that gunk in there. And then if you're not using a helmet liner or a bandana that soaks up the majority of it, then it's even grosser, right? If you ever washed a baseball cap, nasty. So another accessory that might seem, he keeps coming back, that might seem excessive or whatever, is a helmet bag. Now, the helmet bag is great because it's a very safe and easy way to carry your helmet, but the other thing that it does is that it protects it from the pollutants in the air. You can also put those little dry things, inside those little things, to keep the humidity down and all that, and that way you can save or extend the life of your helmet as well. So it actually is worth it, especially when you're buying $1,000 helmets or whatever. Then you definitely can splurge and get a helmet bag. And then for equestrians, I like to have some sun protection. So this is a visor. This is my favorite one. It's the Dabrim endurance model, and not the petite one, the full size one. And this one is great because this is the front and this is the back, and the front is actually kind of small. I almost wish that the front was a little bit larger for more sun protection, because sometimes I have to dip my head down in order to block the sun, but that's fine. But this is nice and big in the back, and that actually blocks all the sun from my neck. It protects my neck, so that's really great. And then at high speeds, when I'm riding at high speeds, I will dip my head down to allow the wind to go up and over. And then it's also great when it's raining. Then the rain actually just drips down, and then I'll remember every once in a while to dip my head and pour the water off. All right, so once again, take a look at these and tell me that you wouldn't have preferred that the helmet have taken this damage and not your own skull. There's a lot of science that goes into helmets and safety standards and all that, and it's a real thing. All right, so remember, you only got one real life. Now there's ways to extend that, you know, lifesavers like helmets and stuff. And if you can get an extra life with a you know, helmet, it is so worth it. Ride safe, everyone, and take care. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hey.